The headlines didn't just surface, they exploded across both sides of the Atlantic, and almost no one saw this coming. Harry and Meghan, the couple who stormed out of the UK in 2020, swearing they would never return, have suddenly reappeared on British soil under circumstances insiders are quietly calling a full-scale exit from California. This wasn't a casual visit. This wasn't a holiday stopover. Multiple reports suggest they packed up Montecito with their children and left in what looks very much like panic mode. And the timing couldn't be more unsettling. Their abrupt departure came just days after Tyler Perry made a jaw-dropping statement on his radio show, publicly demanding repayment of an alleged $16 million loan within 30 days, or warning that the dispute could move straight into court, dragging deeply uncomfortable financial details into the open. What was once whispered as celebrity gossip suddenly began to feel like a real-time financial crisis. The woman who once commanded red carpets as a duchess, building a brand around independence and empowerment, is now reportedly keeping a low profile somewhere in the UK while trying to stay out of reach of one of Hollywood's most powerful figures. And the man who wrote an entire memoir about escaping the prison of royal life has, by all appearances, run straight back to it. Perhaps because facing palace protocol feels safer than facing accountants and legal filings. Pause for a second and really think about that. The level of desperation required to reverse everything you once stood for. The reality of crawling back to a family you publicly criticized, an institution you dismantled in interviews, and a country you said was suffocating. This doesn't feel like damage control anymore. It feels like collapse, a financial unraveling happening in plain sight. And the return to the UK may be the clearest signal yet of just how deep the trouble truly runs. And that sudden flight back to the UK reveals something far more disturbing than bad timing. It exposes just how deep their financial troubles may actually run. But to understand why they would leave the country so abruptly, you have to rewind to the exact moment everything began to unravel. Because Tyler Perry's demand didn't come out of thin air. On a crisp December morning in 2025, Perry's voice cut sharply through his radio show, the kind of moment that makes you stop scrolling instantly. According to the statement that followed, Harry and Meghan allegedly owed him a significant sum tied to their Montecito mansion. And if that money wasn't repaid within 30 days, he warned, the matter would be taken straight to court. Within minutes, the remark detonated across social media. What had once lived in rumor territory suddenly crossed a dangerous line, transforming celebrity chatter into a full-blown financial controversy, one that hinted at years of quiet deals and unspoken obligations behind the scenes. This wasn't Tyler Perry being impulsive or emotional. This was a self-made billionaire, a man with a net worth north of $1 billion, publicly calling out two people who, according to reports, had been avoiding repayment for months. Sources cited by outlets such as Sky News Australia claim Perry had tried repeatedly to resolve the issue privately, sending lawyers, making calls, extending deadline after deadline, partly out of respect for his role as godfather to their daughter, Lilibet. But when the final deadline passed with nothing but silence, Perry made a calculated move. Going public wasn't just about money, it was about leverage, about forcing a response when every private channel had failed. And the roots of that alleged loan stretch all the way back to 2020, when Harry and Meghan first arrived in California amid chaos. No permanent home, no security, intense pressure. At that moment, Perry stepped in, opening his Beverly Hills estate and surrounding them with top-tier protection, offering refuge when they had nowhere else to turn. What began as a genuine act of kindness, one person stepping in to help two people in crisis, slowly evolved into something far more complicated and far more costly. That temporary refuge didn't stay temporary for long. The moment they decided to buy the Montecito mansion, everything changed. Because the Montecito estate was never just a house. It was a $14.65 million declaration to the world that they had arrived, that they no longer needed royal money, royal protection, or royal approval. 9 bedrooms, 16 bathrooms, a tennis court, manicured rose gardens, and sweeping Pacific Ocean views. A property designed to broadcast success, independence, and permanence. Public records show they secured a $9.5 million mortgage. But this is where the numbers stop lining up. That price tag leaves more than $5 million unaccounted for in down payments and closing costs. And according to multiple reports, this is where Tyler Perry allegedly stepped in again. Sources cited by outlets like Radar Online and the Daily Mail claim Perry didn't just offer shelter. He fronted several $1 million to help close the deal when traditional financing came up short. These weren't formal bank loans drafted by teams of attorneys. They were classic Hollywood handshake agreements. Favors exchanged over private conversations, sealed with trust instead of paperwork. At the time, the logic seemed flawless. Perry reportedly believed in their brand and their earning potential. Netflix deals rumored at $100 million, a $20 million Spotify contract, book advances, speaking fees. The money looked endless. Paying back a few million would be effortless once those checks started clearing. Or so everyone thought. Because here's the harsh reality few people talk about. The Montecito mansion isn't just expensive to buy, it's financially brutal to maintain. And once that cost structure locked in, the dream began quietly turning into a trap. According to reports from LA Magazine, annual property taxes alone run past $200,000. Add round-the-clock security, a necessity given their profile, and costs climb into the millions each year. Then come maintenance, insurance, utilities, and staff salaries. Every month, the burn rate quietly explodes. And as the Montecito mansion's value reportedly surged past $20 million per recent Forbes estimates, it didn't just become their biggest asset, it became their most dangerous one. Missed payments, and it turns into prime foreclosure collateral. But Tyler Perry wasn't the only person waiting to be repaid. That's when the California dream stopped feeling like success and started feeling like a trap. Insider reports and leaked details suggest Perry was just one piece of a much larger funding puzzle that propped up their lifestyle at its peak. Anonymous sources quoted by Radar Online describe a web of quiet financing involving Silicon Valley tech figures, Hollywood producers, and wealthy insiders who all bet on the Sussex brand when it was at full strength. One tech billionaire allegedly advanced millions in anticipation of future Archwell partnerships that never happened. A veteran producer reportedly covered key closing costs in exchange for content stakes that later collapsed. These weren't bank loans. They were favors, relationship currency in elite circles, and once the brand cracked, those favors came due. The real problem is that the Sussex brand, once their golden ticket, has turned increasingly toxic. On paper, an estimated $60 million net worth, boosted by Harry's inheritance and early media deals, sounds impressive. But once you subtract the Montecito mortgage, the alleged $16 million owed to Tyler Perry, other private debts, non-stop security costs, and an expensive lifestyle, the numbers collapse fast. Analysts say their income has been inconsistent at best. Their big deals didn't deliver. Netflix projects underperformed, with Love, Meghan reportedly pulling just 5.3 million views and ranking outside the top 300. Spotify walked away early, publicly criticizing the lack of value. Spare delivered a one-time cash surge, but recurring revenue dried up far sooner than expected. At the same time, the Archwell Foundation, meant to be their philanthropic and media engine, has reportedly been bleeding money, with filings showing expenses far outpacing donations. That imbalance has drawn increased scrutiny, including questions around potential mixing of personal and charitable finances. When your brand weakens, your income stalls, and multiple powerful creditors are watching closely, your options disappear fast. And that's the corner they were already in when Perry made his demand public. So why run back to the UK of all places? The country they publicly criticized. The family they embarrassed. The institution they dragged through interview after interview. Because as ironic and humiliating as it looks, it may have been their smartest legal and financial move, and possibly the only one left. What most people don't realize is how complicated international debt collection really is. A legal claim filed in California doesn't automatically follow someone across the Atlantic. Once they're physically in the UK, enforcing a US judgment becomes slower, costlier, and far more complex. it can require new filings, new hearings, and years of legal maneuvering. By relocating, they likely bought themselves time, a temporary legal buffer that delays immediate collection. But it's not just about avoiding one creditor. Harry still has access to assets and inheritance held in UK trusts, funds that are far harder for American creditors to reach. Being on British soil also opens doors to resources and options that simply don't exist while living in California. There's also the optics. In the US, they were exposed, tabloid targets with little public sympathy and relentless questions about money. In the UK, Harry is still a prince, and despite everything, some residual support remains. The British press, while ruthless, operates under stricter privacy rules. From their perspective, weathering the storm in Britain likely felt safer than being cornered in Montecito by lawsuits and foreclosure notices. But here's the risk they can't escape. They've returned to a family they publicly burned, and that family has no obligation to rescue them now. The reception waiting for Harry and Meghan in the UK is reportedly ice cold, and sources close to the royal family say even that understates it. Behind closed doors, King Charles and Prince William are said to have made their position unmistakably clear. There will be no bailouts, no quiet financial rescue, and no behind-the-scenes cleanup like in the past. According to reports from outlets such as Express and Newsweek, Charles, already dealing with serious health concerns, has placed the stability of the monarchy above everything else, including his relationship with his younger son. How it ends remains uncertain: settlement, foreclosure, separation, or worse. But one thing is clear: the California dream is over. And when a kingdom is built on other people's money and burned bridges, the bill always comes due, eventually leaving nowhere left to run.